Hi guys, and this is a small tutorial on how to make some bass house sounds. For example, this one, and also this one. It's best to use one octave lower in the second sound. So anyways, let's get started. First of all, use Massive, which is the most common plugin for these types of music. You start with the first oscillator and the reducer table. The wavetable position is completely up. You can change it however you want. You can put like a macro control and put it on top of this. The intensity is supposed to be all the way up, but I prefer to put it all the way down, or else it'll sound kind of awkward. With the amp all the way up, I use an LFO, a performer LFO, on the amp, so it doesn't go all the way once I use the filters. Oscillator with 2 and 3 don't do anything, they're just there. Wait, there we go. Modulation oscillator, just go to the ring mod, and you can put it all the way up, all the way down, in the first oscillator. It doesn't really matter. It does little changes, but it may be worth it, maybe not. It is your choice. Face, put an LFO on it, and put the face all the way down for the moment. The pitch is 1 octave high, or 12 semitones high. I forgot that the first oscillator is 24 semitones down, or 2 octaves down, and the LFO is just gonna modify the phase of this, and that's pretty much all with the oscillators. Then we go to the bandpass. The bandpass filters. I use a bandpass, and then I put it the cutoff to at least the letter C, matching up with the letter C, and the bandwidth pointing to the little f of cutoff. You can see right there. Then the resonance, it's pointing to the h of bandwidth. It's exactly the same on bandwidth and resonance. I don't use too much resonances. It'll sound weird. A second filter is a low pass filter. It'll remove some of the frequencies, and at the same time it will do good on your wobbles for the sounds, or the plucks for in this case, since all these in the performance LFO is a pluck. The inserts is S shaper. You can use a parabolic shaper if you want, but you have to use it carefully. Don't use it too much of it, or it'll sound kind of awkward. I use sine shaper, so it's better. I used Bronner tube as my distortion in the FX1. Drive wet is exactly in the center. Drive is a little bit pointing towards the 2 of FX. FX2, I use chorus and ensemble. I use less dry wet, the pointing to the D of dry and dry wet. I use the rate all the way down, so it's really slow. Offset, I point it at least to the RN rate, if you can see closely. The depth, I put it a bit low also, pointing at least almost at the bottom part of the next knob. And then I use an EQ, an inside EQ. And I put down the lower shelf, because sub bass in this sound is not that good. The boost, I put it to almost to the F or more than the F of frequency, like that. And then I use the LFO to move the frequency slightly more aside from the middle. I put it right here by pointing to the F of low shelf, I think. And then the high shelf is just pointing to the H. It's just a little bit of the high shelf putting down, not too much. And then the routings, you see filter 1, it has insert 1, and the insert 2 doesn't have anything. You can use feedback, but feedback has to be used carefully, just like in insert 1 with parabolic shaper. And without any post-processing, it'll sound just like this. It doesn't sound that great, right? But when you use post-processing, it'll sound a lot better. So first off, you go parametric EQ. Wait, let me check something. Yes, my microphone's still going. Sorry. My parametric EQ. I cut down all the low frequencies for at least like 300, 130 something, or 140. I cut down all those frequencies. The rest of it is just put a bit more mid, less upper mid, and then treble. Just raise it up a little bit. I know that I cut off some frequencies inside EQ, but that's just another case. It'll sound like this with everything, with the EQ. Quite better. So now I use OTT. If you don't know what OTT is, it's basically just a compressor that is pretty useful. If you use Ableton, you'll find an OTT already installed. But Xfer's OTT, which is the company who made it, Xfer, is a lot better than the Ableton one, because Ableton usually just manages all the ranges at the same time, at the same speed and stuff. Like if I move one range, the rest of the ranges will go with that range. But this one, you can move the ranges separately. I think I screwed up the setting. You can use this, or you can use a multi-band compressor, which is almost exactly the same. You can use like this Fruity multi-band compressor. It's almost the same. It just looks a bit more complicated than this. So yeah, get off. I darn it. I remove all the low frequencies, like the last time with the parametric EQ, and I put a bit on the middle frequencies and the high frequencies. I leave it all almost the same, just a bit more, just a little bit more. Gain and out gain is just the same. Time is the same, and depth is the same. I don't do anything else. It's just blah. I don't do anything else. It'll sound like this when you use it. Slightly compressed. It sounds real good now. Better. Not real good, just better. Then I use another parametric EQ. Once again, I mess around with the low frequencies, because sometimes, even though I did this in OTT, it still pushes off some of the low frequencies, and I don't use these the monitor things, because it makes me lag. Yeah, this computer is not that good, but it's fine. I put down all the sub frequencies, then the middles, pump it up a little bit, The higher middles are low down, and the high or the treble, I just put it a bit down because OTT is making it too high, and it'll sound like this. We're getting there. We're getting there. So now, stereo shaper. I use stereo shaper because when I use the massive plugin, voicing, sometimes people use this pan position, so you can you can hear it like stereo. But in this case, I don't use it because sometimes when you press the key, some of the voices go to one side and some of the other voices go to the other side. Each time you press the key, it's randomizing, so it kind of sounds weird. So I just don't use pan position, and I just put the Unisono high. Then I use this instead for the stereo shaper, so it actually sounds thicker and it's stereo wide. I use a preset, stereo. You can use 1, 2, 3. Doesn't matter. They all do the same thing, just slight differences. You choose the one you want. If you use FL Studio, if you use another DAW, or like another producer program, you'll find something similar to this. I use this so it sounds more stereo wide, and now with that it sounds like this. Pretty neat, huh? If you listen to it with headphones, you'll notice the difference between with and without stereo shaper. You'll listen to it and it'll sound a lot more roomy and stereo wide. If you're just listening to this phone into a phone or something like that, you won't hear it. Reverb. I use about 75% of reverb. Don't put it too high, or else it sound weird, and don't put it too low either, or else you won't hear it much. The high cut is completely up, so it picks up all the frequencies high, there, middle and high. The low cut, I cut off all the low frequencies that I don't use or I don't need. It's basically just like a cutoff filter or a high pass filter, stuff like that. It's the same. Delay, you can add some delay. It'll sound pretty cool. The size, I usually just shape it based on the square outside here, right there. So I can just, based off of that, I can make it how big or how small I want the room to be. And also, while using the sound, I can use this to size it up. The diffusion, I put it all the way up because if I put it down, it sounds kind of weird. I put it all the way up. The bass multiplier is exactly the same as how it came. Cross is exactly the same, and damp, you can put it up or down. It does affect a lot, but you can still mess with it. The decay, it all depends on you also. I usually just put it to 1 second, or at least 1.5 or 1.6, whatever. Stereo separation, so it sounds a lot more stereo wide again, because stereo is the best. And without it, it sounds like this. With it, it sounds like this. Fun, huh? Right, yes, it's still recording. Okay. It's fun, it sounds better. Now, for this to work better, I use a separate plugin to use it as a sub. I don't use the same plugin to actually do the sub, or else it'll sound awkward. Let me just show you a little demonstration. For example, let's do a synth square. Let's put it all the way down and put this amp up. Actually, it won't work because low pass filter is not gonna let me. But I'll try it out still. See, it kind of sounds bad with another table. It'll sound awkward. But with a separate table, you can manage how you want the sub bass to be. The second plugin that is massive all over again. It's basically the same process of filters and effects and also shaper and stuff. Everything is the same. The only thing I change is the table, the wave table. Instead of being a a reducer, I change it to format saw. You can use a square saw, but I prefer format saw or format square. Format square sounds a lot better though. Let me just show you. See, it sounds a lot better, and also it's the same. I put it in the same track, so it does exactly the same post processing. You don't have to do anything else. You can use these presets in both Basshouse or also Brostep if you like. You just need a nice loop for a simple Basshouse, or you can just change up the tempo and change up the sound of the drums. Oh, wait, let me just, sorry, I'm taking too long. Okay, so let me just get something good. I got too many samples, don't ask. Sometimes samples can save you. I only got demos sometimes. I don't get that money. Okay, now I can do like a Brostep-ish. Oh god, okay. There you go. There you go. So now, no, oops. There you go. Okay, so now, I put all those sounds into one channel specific. I mean, one insert in specific with Kickstart, and it has a sidechain. So this is an official sidechain. Kickstart by Nicky Romero. I don't remember if this is free or not, but you can try to Google it out. You'll find out soon enough. And you can both control it on MIDIs, or you can just put it synchronized to the music. For example, see retrigger options, synced, retriggered, or one shot. I don't know how to control this on Ableton, but I know that if you want to control it with MIDI, you can just put MIDI input port 0 and output port 0, and then you can put a MIDI, like MIDI out, FL MIDI out, and it will control this completely. But you have to put this in one shot. So now everything is set up, and this is gonna sound like when it's like Brostep-ish. Yeah, that was not the best example, but use your imagination. You can do whatever you want with this. The presets may be downloadable, maybe not. If I have time, or you can just copy everything that I just did with the video. You can do whatever you want with these. So thanks guys for watching, and yeah. I recommend get Cymatics stuff. They're very good page to get EDM samples or random samples, just like Walmart drums. Walmart drums are just sounds that came out of Walmart products and also Target products and stuff. And they bring a lot of cool sounds that you can use in dubstep, electro, EDM in general. Every genre, subgenre in electronic music. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Laters.